Hi, let's go ahead and talk about InDesign Classroom in a Book, Chapter 2, where we get to know a little bit more about InDesign. Once again, let's go to Canvas, grab the zip file, go ahead and bring it into your flash drive, into your Classroom in a Book, and save. It'll go ahead and download, then we'll have to go through and extract it as we have the last few files. So it's there now. I'm going to go ahead and look at my flash drive, which is right over here. So Classroom in a Book, I want the zipped one for number 2. I'm going to right click and go ahead and extract all on the files. Yes, please extract. It's doing its thing. Alright, let's go ahead and look in the extracted folder. I'm going to go ahead and pull open the end version first so you can see what we're creating today in InDesign. I am going to put update links today so that we don't have to correct the errors as far as links go. So what we're doing today is creating a postcard that has a number of different elements involved. We've got importing a graphic, we're going to be importing some text, we're going to be creating some styles, creating fills and strokes, learning how to move things around. So there's quite a few things to learn in this lesson. Of course, follow along with the book or watch the video and then follow along on your own. No, I don't want to save it. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and go to my start. You'll notice that this lesson has a few different things in it. It's got the 2 InDesign files, the start and the end. It's got one called a muse.doc, which is actually the document you're going to be putting in. So you have to type it because you can import information from a Word document. And we've got diningroom.jpg, which is a picture. So let's go ahead and grab start.indd. So as you can see, we've got kind of a boring-ish thing going on. We're missing quite a few elements right now. For now, let's go ahead and start by saying File, Save As, and we're going to call it O2 Postcard .indd, which is InDesign document. I'm going to go ahead and make sure I'm saving it in my Lesson 2 folder so I can find it for later, and I'm hit save. Alright, so right now, as we've talked about before, there's different presentation modes available for InDesign. We are right now in the preview mode, so we do not see any of the guides, we don't see any of the hidden items. We're going to go up here to the application bar and do our view options. I want to be able to view my guides and I want to view my hidden characters, which means show me where spaces are, show me where things are. But if you see nothing turned on, that's because we're still in preview mode. Let's go ahead and go over to screen mode and switch it to normal. Now you can tell quite a few things. You can see right here we've got the big paragraph symbol, indicates how large the font is. We see things like spelling mistakes. We see errors. We see the guides, which are these blue non-printing items that help us line things up. Makes your life a lot easier to create a guide when you are trying to make straight lines and line things up nicely. So one of the first things we're going to notice is that we have this error down here at the bottom. So we have a red light. I'm going to go ahead and click here and get my pre-flight panel. And it's going to tell me I have a text error. So what does that mean? It says I have overset text. What InDesign is telling you is that there is text that is in a frame. Remember, everything has to live in a frame that is not showing. So I'm going to go ahead and click it. And it's going to say, okay, it's in this frame right here. I'm going to go ahead and close that for now. I can tell that there's an error because of this red plus sign right now. That is telling me that there is extra text in here that's not showing. I can grab my selection tool, grab those arrows, let's make the box a little bit bigger, and now my error goes away because, as you can tell, we had a problem. Irresistible is spelled wrong. I can use my type tool, click here on irresistible, and get the dynamic spelling to fix that for us. We're going to go ahead and leave the other words okay. You want to make sure you're always using your dynamic spelling. Go to Edit, go to Spelling. You want dynamic spelling to be turned on. That way you will see when you have mistakes. There's no reason to have big typos in your publication. Alright, so we just fixed that. Let's go ahead and go back to Window, Range. Let's go ahead and Workspace. No, let's not. Let's go View, Fit Spread Window. We'll do that one instead. Alright, so now we decide we're not going to be a cafe, we're going to be a bistro instead. So what we're going to do is grab our Type tool. We're going to go ahead and click into the word cafe. We're going to use our backspace and put in the word bistro. We can go ahead and you can make additional words in here. As long as there is a space for the words to live, a frame for them to live in, it's very easy to go ahead and add and play with text. Alright, so one of the next things we want to do is, you see we've got these frames down here, which have a number sign, which means they don't have anything in them right now, it's just a space. We don't want to have to type all that information. So what we're going to do is go back to our selection. We're going to go to File and Place, which is about halfway down. It's going to say, okay, what do you want to place? We want to place amuse.docs, which is where our words are. And we're going to say Open. And oops, we made a mistake because we put it into the box that was selected, which is that top one. We can go do a quick Control-Z and undo that. We want to go ahead and put it in this box down here. So I'm going to go ahead and click it in there. Now if you'll notice, I have another problem because I have that overset text box again. So I'm going to click on the plus sign and I'm going to get what's called the loaded cursor. You'll notice that it's got a bunch of text connected to it. What we want to do is connect that and thread it to this next text box right here by pushing Go. What's important about having threaded text boxes is it will push and pull the text according to the containers that it's in. So you always want to use threaded text boxes. You do not want to create separate boxes for everything. We can tell it's a threaded text box because right here we've got that small blue arrow that's saying this is jumping from somewhere else. But we still have an error. Part of that is because our style is way too large. This lesson has a number of styles already established for us, which makes it very easy. So one of the first things we're going to do is let's play with the text. Let's go ahead and in the box, if we do a Control-A, that'll select everything. We don't want that. Let's do an escape or click outside on the pasteboard. I want to click in my box, starters and small plates, so it knows where we want. Then I want to Control-A. It's going to select all of my text at once, even the stuff I can't see. We're then going to do what's called apply a paragraph style, which is a predetermined style. You want to use styles throughout your projects because it makes it easier to change everything on a dime. They're a little bit harder to set up at the beginning, but it makes your life so much easier in the end. Alright, we're going to go ahead and we want to see the styles. So I'm going to go up to Window and Styles, and I want the paragraph style. And you see my panel pops up. Here they've predefined a number of styles for you. Normally blank documents don't have it, you have to define them as you go. We want to change this to what's called body copy. So automatically it changed the elements in both of those boxes for us, made life a lot easier. Alright, so what else can we do? We can decide we want this starters and small plates to have a different style, so we're going to go ahead and mark the one in paragraph styles, go subhead. Now, it automatically changed to green and has a style established. Let's go ahead and apply that to entrees and desserts as well, subhead. Now, what's awesome about using a style, if I double click in my subhead right here, there we go. It pulls it up. I can go ahead and say, okay, right now it's green. I can play with it and say, character color, instead of green, I want everything to be bright blue. I can do preview, and that shows anything that has that style connected to it will be changed at once, which is a really awesome way to go, especially when you're creating a magazine and you want your body text to be the same from page 1 to page 16. Alright, so we've applied that. Alright, let's also do some other things to make some other interesting things. Let's go ahead and create a style for some of our things we want to call out in our menu. So let's go ahead and highlight with our text tool the baked garlic through mussels part here at the top. We go here, we can see our control panel. We can go ahead, we could change the font, we could change the style, we could change the size, we can change how much space is between each of those. But right now I want to change the color, which is the fill color, which is right over here, this T. And this one has a preset group of colors established for us. So if I click this colorful theme arrow, I'll see that for this postcard it's given me some specialty colors that aren't standard. So I'm going to go ahead and put red. So now if I click on something else, I see that I've got red instead of the black. Now I can say I want to create a style from this. I want to be able to put this into other things. So what we're going to do is hold the Alt button, and at the bottom of our styles panel we want to go ahead and put create new style, which is the one that looks like a post-it note. And it's going to pop up something for us. We're going to go ahead and call this red italic. We do not want to add it to the library because it's not something we want to use on multiple documents. So what does this tell us? If we look, we can see that character color, we've chosen that red. We could choose a different font, totally up to us. We could decide anything that is in that red italic, we could make it a certain type of font that's different than everything else. So let's go ahead and do that. Let's go, instead of Myriad Pro, we're going to go ahead and make it, something else. We'll make it Old English, just to make it really obnoxious. You can pick whatever you like. Where'd my Old English go? Here's. Alright, and I have my preview. So I say, and general, I do want to apply the style to selection. So look what it did. It turned everything into that red selection. We don't really want to do that. So let's say OK. So now I've got this one called red italic right here. I can go ahead, undo, and select. Now my problem is I just made that a paragraph style instead of a character style. I did that on purpose to see that anything you create a paragraph style for will affect the entire paragraph. We want to create a character style, which means individual letters and words. So let's go ahead and go to Styles and Character Styles. Let's go ahead and re-highlight our muscles and whatnot. Hit Alt and hit New Style. And we get a new character style. Let's call this one red italic. We do want to apply the styles section. We do want to preview. We don't want to add it. And say OK. So now you can see in my character styles I now have one called red italic. So now I can go through and highlight the other ingredients throughout my postcard here and easily make it red italic. So what happens when I don't like red anymore? Because I've used the style, if I double click on my style, I can edit it and go character color. Okay, instead of red, I want to do it blue. And instead of the font it is now, I want to go ahead and make it Arial black, or it's already Arial. Let's make it Garamond instead. And I can make it, let's go ahead and make it 24 points. Whoa, what happened? It got really huge. Because it's on preview, I can see what's happening. But see how it's changing every single thing that that style is attached to. So you want to make sure that when you're creating styles, you're applying them as you go. Instead of having to go up to your control panel every time and go through and reset all those different elements as you go. Use your styles. Alright, now we need to add an image. When we add anything, we do File and Place. So let's go to File and Place. So I'm going to say, what do you want to put in? I want to grab diningroom.jpg. and say OK. Now this is part of being an organized designer. If you're not an organized designer, it's not going to be easy for you to find these things. Now I decide I want it to be in this this segment right here. If I just click, it's not on my selection tool. File, place, dining room. Alright, so I get my loaded cursor. If I just hit return, it is going to import that image exactly the size that it is right now, which is way too ginormous for what we needed to do. I'm going to go ahead and do Control Z to undo that. What I'm going to do instead is click and hold at this vertex right here and drag down using my guide and my margin and decide this is exactly how big I want this image to be. Now, InDesign takes things very seriously. If I now use my selection tool and try to crop that, it's not going to resize the image itself, it's going to resize the box. Unless you have this one up here called Auto Fit. Then it will change things and alter it as you go. So sometimes that's really, really frustrating. Alright, so what else do we need to do to our thing here? We still have some overset text here. I'm going to go ahead and hit, oh, there we go. Fix the error. Alright, so next I've got this element right here, this plate and fork and knife, I guess. If I hit my selection tool, I can go ahead and grab it and drag it over to kind of close on my card. But white's really boring, so I can change it. If I go up here to my control panel, I have the top one, which is solid, is your fill color. So I'm going to go ahead and go to my colorful theme and choose red. But I want it to have an outline. An outline is called a stroke. So I'm going to go ahead, click out of that, and I want my stroke, which is just the frame. Let's go to colorful theme and make it green. Now, it's not bad, but I want to kind of twist it a little bit. There's a couple different ways to do that. If you go outside of the object, you will get a curved arrow, which allows you to twist and curve things. You can also change it up here on the control panel. I can decide, okay, I want it to be twisted to 30 degrees up here. But I want it to be, the x coordinate, I want it to be 11p5. And I want it to be 3p0. So it's kind of like graphing when you if you have your x coordinate, your y coordinate, you can choose exactly where it's going to go as you're going along. Alright, so let's make these stand out a little bit more. Because right now, if we go up to our window, go to our preview mode, they're kind of boring, kind of blending in. So what else can we do with it? Let's go ahead and go back to our normal mode. Let's select that object. And we can create what's called an object style. The object style goes ahead and say you want to make sure you have a drop cap or a drop shadow on everything throughout your project. It's a really easy way to be consistent with that from one place to another. So let's go to Window, let's go to Styles. This time we want Object Styles. So we have a few different things here. We've got one called Green Stroke Top right here. So I'm going to go ahead and apply that. Now you'll notice that I have my text threaded from one to the other, but I don't necessarily have the style applied to both boxes. So I need to go ahead and apply that style to the other box as well. Now you'll notice that this style changed things a little bit because now our box doesn't quite fit. It changed the spacing a little bit. So we can resize those to make sure we don't have any errors now. And then we go back to our preview and we've created a postcard. Go ahead now and go back through the steps in Chapter 2. Make sure you understand styles because you're going to get lots of points for them taken off if you don't do them in the future. So let's go ahead, get ready to turn it in. Do File, Package. It's going to package the entire publication. Yes, go ahead and save. go ahead and do the instructions. I'm going to do first initial, last name, InDesign, Classroom in a Book, Chapter 2, packaged. I do want to include everything and say package. I'm then going to go to my flash drive after it's packaged, zip it, and submit it to Canvas. Make sure you're always, submitting that zipped folder to Canvas. So if I go down here, it should be just about there. Classroom in a Book, I've got 2 packaged. Everything is here. You have my fonts, my links, my things. Both of them say postcard, which is what I renamed it to, so I know I've got the right thing. I'm going to right click, send to, compressed folder. Then I'm going to upload that packaged folder. Every single time I'm going to be uploading that packaged folder. Good luck on the lesson.